on Christmas, that lovely feast. It occurs, of course, in late December, the darkest time of the year, and it is really a ray of light, a wonderful moment of light during the dark days of winter. And there's something about Christmas that touches all of us, really. It really does help us to be together, to be as one, the whole season of Christmas. I think children capture Christmas so much better than us, and the nativity plays that give such pleasure to children and to their parents, especially in schools at this time of year. Those nativity plays capture beautifully, I think, the simplicity and the attractiveness of the first Christmas, the manger scene. The child born in a manger with his mother, Joseph, foster father there. And again, the simplicity is underlined by the first visitors to see the newborn child, were of course, the shepherds. They were doing the night watch. And doesn't it strike you, as it does me, how silently the Son of God made his entry into our world? The world went on about its business, and here in the night in Bethlehem, this little infant came into our world who was both the Son of God and the Son of Mary. So Christmas is a time really to lift our hearts, to give us a bit of joy really, and again to refocus us and our gaze on Jesus Christ and who he is for us, that he was one of us, member of a human family. When we look at the crib, the manger, as it's depicted in so many churches and in public places nowadays, again, the simplicity strikes us really, but it's a very real scene that Joseph and Mary, with a newborn baby, had to cope with difficult circumstances. The manger was not an ideal place to bring a child into the world, but they coped. And shortly afterwards we're told that they had to rise and run. Joseph had to take the child, the newborn child and its mother, and flee to Egypt. And there they would be for a good number of years, a long time actually, until the murderous King Herod had passed away. So it was a lovely family, but a family had to live in a tough and a hard world. They were living under Roman domination, and they seemed to be poor, frugal, and they didn't have the comforts of life. And what they did have, of course, was one another, and they had their faith in God. And I'm sure at the heart of that home, initially in Bethlehem, in exile in Egypt, and eventually in Nazareth, at the heart of that would be their faith in God and in the Scriptures. So I think as we reflect on Christmas, we can draw inspiration from the example of the Holy Family, and just, I think, rather than try and understand everything, just reflect on the wonder of what has happened. Yet again, we know the story, we're so familiar with it, but just wonder of wonders. In a very quiet, unassuming manner, the Son of God, who would be our Saviour, our Redeemer, the one who would open the gates of heaven for us in the fullness of time, was born of a young mother in a stable at Bethlehem. Wonderful moment, a wonderful time in the church's calendar. So I take this opportunity of wishing you all a very happy Christmas and all the blessings that the child Jesus can bring us. Let us open our hearts to him, and as we do so, let us open our hearts to one another. And finally, as we reflect on the Holy Family, they were exiles and refugees. We're seeing so much on television nowadays and in the mass media of the plight of refugees. Let us try to help them as much and as best we can. But let us also in prayer commend them to the care of a loving Father. Just as God the Father looked after his Son, his mother Mary and Joseph when they were on the highways and the byways, may he look after those refugees who for one reason or another find themselves far from their homeland and their own. May He protect them too. God bless you, a happy Christmas, and every blessing for the new year about to begin.